What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Retro Cup submitted to the channel by Mario Plumber 014, who's the same trainer that submitted the triple XXL team in the Ultra League, which is probably the most chaotic and unpredictable set of battles that I've ever tried to shoutcast. And despite the low elo, it seems like a lot of you guys really enjoyed that video, so he's back with some more triple XXL action, including a level 51 best buddy boosted Cetoddle. Now I will say I don't think this video is going to be quite as all over the place as the Ultra League one, but it should still be a very entertaining watch. Before we get into the question of the day, two things. First of all, there is a new subscriber challenge this week, the Not So Retro Challenge, and I've already received 9 unique submissions for that, so thank you to everyone that has already submitted. After really struggling to get submissions for the past 2 challenges, it's great to see a lot of early entries. Now, if you want to find out more about the competition, visit a link in the description, and if you want to ask any questions, feel free to join the Discord server, also linked in the description, and ask in the designated channel. The other thing is, I'm going to be quite busy over the next couple of weeks, so I might not be able to stick to my regular upload times, and instead videos might just be published as and when I can make the content, but I thought I'd just let you guys know. Anyways, with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favorite best buddied level 50 Pokemon? And if you don't have any, then just let me know your favorite best buddy Pokemon. Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. So going into the first battle, leading Cetoddle into a Drifblim, so a great lead matchup for us. The opponent is choosing to stay in, and they're going to fire for Charge Move. They could be on Mystical Fire, and the opponent is just on Icy Wind, so good to not shield that. They're now going to swap into Toxicroak. We're going to respond with our Swallow, and this is a bit of an awkward matchup all round, of course. The opponent hitting for resisted counter damage, but they have super effective Mud Bombs, whereas we've got super effective Mud Shots, while Sludge is going to be resisted. So going for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam grabs the first shield from the opponent, and the opponent is going to fire for another Charge Move. At this point, we're happy to let Swallow go down here. We've grabbed a shield advantage. Mud Bomb will be getting the KO there. We can come in with the Combo O here and probably going to commit to a full farm down, but the opponent swaps into Altaria. So we swap back into Cetoddle. We bank a Charge Move on the Combo O. Avalanche gets the one shot up against the Altaria. They come back in with their Toxicroak, and we're going straight for Body Slam. Body Slam is going to be shielded by the opponent, grabbing the final shield, but unfortunately they can counter farm us down. We're going to come back in with the Combo O, use our shield here, and of course commit to a full Dragon Tail farm down, and the opponent not able to swap out in time there. They come back in with the Drifblim. We're going straight for Dragon Claw, and this game should be absolutely over. Dragon Claw is going to connect there, and at this point we could have thrown another Charge Move, but instead it looks like we're going to shield this up. The opponent goes for the Icy Wind, and now we're going for the BM. We're going for a debuffed triple resisted close combat, and it still gets the KO from that range, and we're able to take that game. Heading into the next battle, we're going to see a Galarian Corsola in the lead, so we're going to stay in this matchup, at least initially, of course. If they're on Power Gem, which they should be, then we're going to swap. We're going to try to catch it onto our Combo O. Have we just caught the Power Gem? Yes, we have. That is resisted damage there on the Combo O, and the opponent is choosing to stay in. So at this point, we're going to overfarm, fire off the Dragon Claw here. Dragon Claw will not be enough damage to get the KO, but it does grab a shield from the opponent. The opponent may be committing to a full farm down, but allowing us to reach a second Dragon Claw. This Dragon Claw going to grab both shields from the opponent. They do get the full farm down, but that's fine. Cetoddle going to come back in, win CMP, going straight for Avalanche. Avalanche gets the KO from that range. They come in with a Primate. We're going to be swapping into our Swalot, and they come in with a Psywave Lapras. So a bit awkward for us, but we do have a 2 shield advantage. So let's see what we want to do here. We're going to go and fire off the Sludge. Sludge really not going to do that much damage up against the very bulky Lapras, but we're going to shield the first Charge Move here from this Lapras, and we are now going to fire off another Sludge. Sludge will not really put them into farm down range, so this is definitely quite awkward for us, but we do fire off the Sludge there, and let's see. Are we going to double shield? Yes, we are. We are going to save our shield, or sorry, save our health for that Primate. We are now going to fire off the Sludge just before they reach another Charge Move here, and we should be able to reach another Sludge up against the Primate, but instead we swap into Cetoddle. The opponent fires off the Charge Move here. The opponent gonna go for the Rage Fist. Rage Fist not doing too much damage there, so we can commit to an Avalanche, and of course Avalanche, a great Charge Move. Avalanche gets the KO there, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, Cetoddle into Quagsire. So slightly awkward for us because they are probably going to be on Stone Edge as their coverage move. So let's see if once again we're going to try and make a catch. No, this time we're going to go for the Avalanche, throwing on a potential CMP tie. Avalanche going to be no shielded. Are we going to shield here? We are going to no shield. The opponent does just go for an Aqua Tail bait, so huge call for us. And now we're going to fire an Avalanche. The opponent probably recognizing Aqua Tail will not get the KO, so going to go for a Stone Edge this time around, or at least farm up to the Stone Edge. But we're going to no shield. We grab the shield advantage there. The opponent does full send the Stone Edge, but now we can come in with our Combo O, and everything is going to be resisted. So we're just going to no shield this. The opponent is only going to reach an Aqua Tail, so fine with us. We can tank that very comfortably. Go for the Dragon Tail farm down, and the opponent comes in with a Cetoddle. That is absolutely fine with us. We can go straight for the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw, gonna be no shielded, and we can now go for a second Dragon Claw, but instead looking to shield once and then possibly go for a full Dragon Tail farm down. The opponent is on Disarming Voice, so not able to boost up their attack with a Torch Song, and we get the full farm down. They're gonna have a Victory Bell in the back, and that's absolutely game over. We grab the final shield from the opponent with a Dragon Claw. We can fire off a second Dragon Claw here, and actually we don't need to bother shielding if the opponent does fire for Charge Reef, as we've got a Swallow in the back. The opponent recognizing there's nothing they can do, and so they just concede the match. So going into the next battle, we see a Shadow Abomasnow in the lead. So this is actually a positive matchup for us, just because we are resisting the Powder Snow damage, whereas they are taking neutral damage from our Powder Snows. We're going to shield the first move. They do full send the Energy Ball there. We're also going to full send an Avalanche. Avalanche going to be coming through. It's going to deal huge damage to the Abomasnow, and the opponent not able to reach another Energy Ball there. Going down probably at the Weather Ball, but either way, fine with us. They're now going to come in with a Whiscash, and we're going straight for Avalanche once again. Avalanche is going to be no shielded. It does just under half their HP, but we're able to reach another Avalanche before they can reach a charge move. So we go for Avalanche. Avalanche going to be shielded. Actually a CMP tie as well, so perfect for us. The opponent fires off the Mud Bomb, and they're now going to swap into a Shadow Manectric. We can come in with the Combo O, of course. Psychic Fang is going to hit for super effective damage, so definitely just shield this up here. But we can now go for a full Dragon Tail farm down up against the Manectric, coming out very close to back-to-back Dragon Claws, but instead the opponent realizing there's nothing they can do, and so again they just concede the match. So going into the next battle, we're going to see a Vigoroth in the lead. So, of course, Vigoroth being triple nerfed. Not really seen much of it recently, but, of course, its Shadow variant is now available. And, according to Yonkers, it's actually a pretty good Pokemon in this meta. But either way, we're going to swap into Swalot, grab a shield with the Ice Beam. Swalot's super bulky, so we can tank anything they throw here and reach a second Ice Beam before they fully farm us down. And we are going to go and full send the Ice Beam. So Ice Beam number 2 coming through is going to be double shielded by the Altaria, and Swallow actually able to reach a last second sludge. So if we baited just once there, we could have actually reached another Ice Beam and got the KO, but it doesn't really matter too much. We can come in with a Cetoddle, maybe shield once and go for a full farm down. We're actually going to no shield the first move here, as the opponent does fire off the Sky Attack. They swap back into their Vigoroth. We're going to come in with the Combo O, and we are going to no shield the first charge move here, as the opponent does fire off the Body Slam. Fine with us. We can out overfarm, and we are probably we're definitely gonna have to shield this, as the opponent does reach a second Body Slam already. We're now going to continue to overfarm, farming up 2 back-to-back Dragon Claws here, throwing the first one from this range. Dragon Claw will be getting the KO. They come back in with the Altaria. Well, never mind. They come in with a Trevenant, so that's definitely fine with us. We go for the Dragon Claw. We're now going to swap into our Cetoddle, and the opponent is going to stay in with the Trevenant, fire off a Charge Move. Absolutely fine with us. We can just safely shield this up there. They go for Foul Play, which is quite interesting, and now we're going straight for the Avalanche here. Avalanche is going to get the KO there, and they come back in with the Altaria. We're still able to reach another Avalanche, and of course, double super effective damage. This will very comfortably get the KO here, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we're going to see Cetoddle into a Nidoqueen. So a great lead matchup for us, and the opponent is going to be choosing to swap into a Skeledirge. We can respond with the Combo O, and it just depends. If they're on Disarming Voice, we're definitely going to have to shield this. And the opponent is on Disarming Voice, so definitely a good shield usage there. We're now going to go for just a single Dragon Tail and fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw, is going to grab a shield from the opponent. Are we going to double shield here? We're actually going to choose not to double shield. Disarming Voice, double super effective. It definitely gets the KO from that range. We're now going to come in with the Swalot. Still slightly awkward for us. Of course, these Mudshots are hitting for super effective damage. However, Sludge is resisted. Ice Beam is resisted. They full send the Blast Burn, but then they randomly swap out into a Superior Not really sure I understand this play, but either way, Sludge gonna hit for super effective damage, and we're now gonna bank some energy on the Swalot. We're gonna no-shield this, and the opponent is just gonna go and fire off an Aerial Ace. Fine with us. We can tank that very comfortably, and it looks like now we might just shield once and then fully farm them down, and we're doing exactly that. So the Aerial Ace gonna be shielded. We can now commit to a very aggressive farm down, getting over 100 energy. They come back in with a Skeleturge. We're actually gonna fire for Body Slam. This is double resisted, non-stab, and no longer a great move, and it does not get the KO, but they swap into Nidoqueen, and we can go straight for the Avalanche. Avalanche is going to be shielded by the opponent, but Cetoddle able to reach another Avalanche before they can fully farm us down, and that should certainly be game over. It actually does not get the KO though. Wow, that is actually insane to me, but we can come in with a Swallow, get the Mudshot farm down, and we're able to take that game. But into the next battle, we see a Typhlosion in the lead. So, of course, not a great matchup here. We're going to go for 1 Powder Snow and then swap out there, making sure the Incinerate damage does not land on Cetoddle. And we're going to go straight for a Sludge. Sludge is going to be shielded by the Typhlosion, and the opponent's going to come in with a Barrel, but they're on Water Gun. So, of course, Water Gun, not the greatest fast move here, of course. Rollout is a pretty good fast move, so that is typically the recommended move set for Barrel, but that's okay with us. We're now going to fire off a second charge move here. Excuse me there, Sludge is, of course, going to connect as they have no shields remaining. We're going to no-shield this as well. Surf will be getting the KO from that range. Now, Como can just wall the fast move damage here, and they will have to go for a Hyper Fang to deal any meaningful damage in this matchup, so we're definitely just going to shield. They do bait with a Surf there, but it doesn't really matter. They're not reaching back-to-back charge moves. We get the full farm down there, and the opponent's going to come in with a second Water type. We're going straight for Close Combat here, and Close Combat is going to deal huge damage in this matchup. The opponent will be able to reach a... No, never mind. They don't even reach a last-second charge move there. I think maybe they missed the Shadow Claw as they came in, but either way, doesn't really matter. We're definitely taking advantage. Close Combat gets the one-shot up against Typhlosion, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, leading into a Kingdra. So a fairly neutral matchup here, of course. Up against most dragons, Ice is super effective, but up against a Dragon and Water-type Pokemon, unfortunately, it is just going to be neutral. We go for the Avalanche. Avalanche grabs a shield from the opponent, and if they go for a Octazooka, then we can, of course, tank it pretty comfortably. And the opponent does go for the Octazooka. They do not debuff our attack, though, so very nice. We're actually going to swap out, bank the charge move, come in with a Swallow. We're not going to throw straight away here, and the opponent is going to go and just go for an Octazooka once again, but this time they drop our attack, and that is definitely not ideal. Swallow already not very attack weighted. This Sludge will not get the KO, and we can't really Mudshot farm them down either, so forced to throw a second Sludge straight away. Not really ideal. Sludge number 2 gets the KO there, and they come in with a Primeape, so we are going to probably no-shield this. Of course, we're already debuffed. We're not going to do much damage in this matchup, but Rage Fist does not get the KO, and we can reach a last-second Sludge. Remember, we are debuffed, so Sludge really not going to do much damage, but we can swap into our Como and possibly commit to a full farm down, but the opponent's going to swap into their final Pokemon, a Venusaur. So at this point, we're going to shield as they full send the Sludge Bomb. We are going to farm up to well over back-to-back charge moves here. I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw. We're actually going to undercharge this just so we can actually get even more farm. Getting that farm down up against the Venusaur. They come back in with a Primeape. We're able to reach a Dragon Claw here, and this should be game over. Cetoddle, I believe, has a charge move loaded, so we're forcing the opponent to throw energy on the Primeape. The opponent goes for Rage Fist. That actually still doesn't get the KO anyways, but we're going to swap into Cetoddle just because we can. Fire off the Avalanche. Avalanche gets the KO there, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, Cetoddle into Tentacruel. So definitely not ideal for us. We are going to stay in this matchup initially. I'm not so sure about this. And we are just going to wait for the opponent to throw a charge move and then possibly swap out. I'm not really sure. The opponent goes for an Acid Spray, so we should definitely swap out of this matchup now. I don't have a clue why we're staying in here. We can just swap into Swallow, and of course, Mudshot's going to hit for super effective damage. But nope, never mind. We grab a shield there, and we're going to swap into our Como-O. So, of course, Swallow doesn't have any charge moves that it can throw into the Tentacruel anyways, but it doesn't really matter. Mudshots will add up over time, and we do resist the Poison Jab damage, but either way, we're going to bait out a Swoobat, and they're able to fully Confusion farm us down. Certainly not ideal, but we grab both shields from the opponent. We're now going to shield this as the opponent does go for a Psychic Fangs, dropping our defense. We can go straight for the Avalanche, and of course, Avalanche is going to be an easy one-shot. From this range, we take out the Swoobat, and they come back in with the Tentacruel. So now we come in with the Swallow, but this is where things get a little bit awkward for us. We're going to go for a sludge here, unfortunately losing CMP. The opponent is going to go for an acid spray once again, debuffing our defense. We can go for the sludge here. Sludge, of course, not going to do much damage in this matchup, but it will put them into Mudshot farm down range. Can we get the farm down before they reach a charge move? It looks like we would have been able to do so. So the opponent swaps into their final Pokemon, a Cherrim, but it doesn't matter. Sludge does big damage. We can go for one more Mudshot, fire off a second Sludge, throwing on good timing. Sludge number 2 gets the KO there, and we could have just committed to a Mudshot farm down, but instead getting the win with Cetoddle, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, bit of an awkward start there. Looks like we started kind of early, but either way, we're going to go for the Avalanche. Avalanche is going to be shielded by the opponent, of course, and at this point, the opponent is going to farm up to a potential Shadow Ball. We're going to no-shield this, though, as the opponent does just bait with a Poison Fang. Definitely fine with us. We can now go for a Body Slam here. Body Slam probably going to have enough damage to put them into Powder Snow farm down range, but we actually swap out into Swallow, catching an Air Cutter there. The opponent does boost up their attack, but it doesn't really matter. They only get off a single boosted Air Slash. We're now going to see a Waterfall for Alligator coming in. What the heck is even this? We're going straight for the Sludge. Sludge, we didn't even hit an excellent there. And at this point, we are now going to overfarm far off a second Sludge. The fact they're on Waterfall, they probably don't have Hydro Cannon either. It's probably going to be like Crunch and Ice Beam. But either way, the opponent does finally throw a Charge Move here. What Charge Move is it going to be? Nope, they are on a Hydro Cannon, so never mind there. But either way, we can come in with the Combo O. We can probably shield once and commit a full farm down. I definitely would just shield this here, as the opponent is going to go for a Hydro Cannon, but we don't know what they've got in the back. So let's see. The opponent is going to come in with a Victory Bell. So once again, easy matchup for the Combo O. We can go straight for the Dragon Claw, and then we might just swap into our Cetoddle just because we can. Or even just no shield the Charge Move here, swap out into Cetoddle and go for a Powder Snow farm down. Nope, yeah, that is exactly what we're going to go for there. Get the farm down with Cetoddle, and we're able to take that game. Now going into the final battle of this video, leading into a Shadow Victory Bell. So a great matchup for us, and the opponent is going to swap, well, never mind. We're going to swap out into a Combo O here, as they were actually on Razor Leaf. So despite the fact that we were hitting for super effective damage with the Cetoddle, unfortunately they probably do win the 2-shield scenario there, just fully farming us down. And unfortunately, speaking of farm downs, they get the farm down with the Dragonair, but we can actually snipe them with the Powder Snow before they can react. They come back in with the Shadow Victory Bell, and it looks like we're going to shield once and then just commit to a full Powder Snow farm down. I definitely don't mind this here, as they fire off the Leaf Blade. We're committing to the farm down, and what do they have in the back? It's going to be a Golisopod on Fury Cutter, so that is very interesting. We're going straight for Avalanche. Unfortunately, Avalanche is resisted damage, but it's still going to do more damage than a Body Slam. The opponent recognizing there's nothing they can do, and so they just concede the match. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.